Hi guys, it is early morning, my kid is up, my husband is up, I'm doing my makeup. So if you hear sounds in the background, I apologize ahead of time. Coffee. Okay, this is what we're doing today. So let's go ahead and get started. The first palette I'm going to use is the Strawberry Moon palette from Ensley Rain. This is old. They have an updated version. If you're interested in the color story, they do still have this palette, just not this palette. They made the pan square and magnetic. The whole thing is magnetic. But since I still have my old one, I'm like, I'm not going to purchase another $77 palette when I already have it. So the first color we're going to get into is this one right here, which is called Summer Love. I should have did a project pan on this palette because I use this bad boy a lot during the summer. The pigments are so vibrant. I love it, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. So we're just digging into Summer Love and building it up in the crease and upper crease. Then I'm going to take the shade Montbritea, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the yellow. And I'm going to use the same brush that I was using for Summer Love, dipping into that and using it to blend out Summer Love. So we have a gradient effect. And no harsh lines. Then I'm going to be going in with the shade Strawberry Moon. And placing that in my crease and really building it up. And gently blending it into our first shade. Blending, blending, blending. Alright, I'm going to go in with the shade Strawberry Moon and place it on the outer part of my eye and re-intensify it in the crease area. I'm then going to go in with a different palette. This is a palette full of Sydney Gray shades, and I'm going to be using this shade right here, and it is called Golden Peach. So I'm going to be using my finger with Golden Peach and placing that in the center of my eye. And then for my next shade, I'm going in with the Just Desserts palette from Ice Cream Beauty and Ladybug Glow. And we're going in with the shade Cake right here. So, placing that on my innermost corner. Look at that. And then, I'm going in with the shade Cherry from the same palette. Applying that on my outer corner to add a little bit of depth. And bringing cherry into my crease. Then I'm going to take a small blending brush and blend out cherry. And that's pretty much the look. I'm going to clean up under my eye, add a liner and a wing, and I'll be back to show you how I do the face. So I'm back with the eyes done. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. I'm not doing underpainting. I'm going to be doing powders because I got a whole bunch of new Hourglass powders. New to me anyway. But I have a whole bunch of new Hourglass stuff that I want to use today, and it's all powder, so that's why I'm not going to be doing any underpainting, because that's just going to be too many layers in my opinion. So let's see. I'm going to use my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. And this is a tad bit too light for me because I have gotten a little bit of sun. So I am going to be mixing it with my Pro Conceal in the shade Beautiful Bronze. And then, to make it a lot more glowy and moisturizing, I'm going to mix in some Reclaim. This is a beauty oil from the Reclaim Beauty Spa that I go and get my lips done at in Flint, Michigan. So just in case you're wondering where I get my beauty oil from, and I live and die and swear by this, I put this on before I use my my red light therapy mask as well. I use this before I go to bed. I use this when I wake up. I use it with my makeup. Like, this stuff is amazing. So that's the concoction that I'm going to be using today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, going in with my foundation brush. Oh, I forgot to add my beauty oil. I'll just put it in my hand and put it on my brush. Do you see how beautiful that looks? Nice and glowy. So I'm using a damp sponge to seal the deal with my foundation. I think that color looks really good on me. Foundation's looking really, really nice. So I'm doing a little bit of highlighting, and what I do is just take my foundation concoction that I used and add a little bit of the LA Girl Pro Conceal in White to lighten it up, and that's what I use as my concealer. That way I have the same consistency throughout my face, because sometimes what I find is that concealers are either too creamy or too matte and they don't meld well with my foundation. So if I just use my foundation but just in a lighter tone, it usually works out. So just blending this out with a brush at first, and then I'm going to take my sponge and press it in. So I just put a little bit of that on my nose, and then I'm going to go in with a contour stick from Trixie Cosmetics and contour my nose. Sorry if you can hear my daughter in the background, but I am a mom. And taking my sponge. make it a little bit more seamless. So this is what the face is giving without powder. And I don't put any foundation or anything on my forehead because I wear bangs, so what's the point? I mean, really, what's the point of doing the eyebrows too? But I find it easier to do my eyeshadow when I have brows on. But this is what we're looking like. So now I'm going to start powdering. The first powder I'm going to use is the L'Oreal Infallible powder. So I found out this is not the viral powder. It's actually one that says Blur on it. But I like this one, so I'm going to continue to use it. This should be going viral too, honestly, because it's a loose setting powder and it's light. It's super light, perfect for under the eyes. So it's not going to be heavy and creasy and make your eyes look like ball sacks. But I'm going to also try out that blur powder too. See if it's just as good. Because this doesn't, I don't think this claims to blur. No, it doesn't claim to blur. It just says it controls shine. So I'm going to get a little bit of that on my powder puff. Stamp out the creases under my eyes. Really work this powder into the puff. And apply. Now I don't use this powder for the rest of my face. I find that it's too light for the rest of my face. I need something a little bit more heavier duty. But for under the eyes, this is perfect. For the rest of my face, I'm going to go in with my ABH loose setting powder. This is what I used to use under my eyes, but it was a little too heavy. So now I use this to set my face. And I just take my damp sponge, get it in the powder, and stamp my face. So this is what the skin is looking like now. So let's go in with some Hourglass powders. So I just bought this palette off of Poshmark, and I think I'm going to use it today. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked, and it's got a finishing powder, a blush and rose heat, a bronzer and radiant bronze light, a blush in coral flush, and a strobe powder in solar strobe light. So I'm going to use this today. This is the finishing powder. And this is the Rose Heat. This is the Blush and Coral Flush. And this is the strobe powder, and this is the bronzer. So these are what we are going to use today. So I'm first going to go in with the bronzer and a little bit of the finishing powder. And tap that on my cheek areas. Oh, that is beautiful. I love Hourglass powders because they always look like skin. They're not too matte, especially with their finishing powders that they have. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Then we're going to go in with the blush from the palette. I'm going to use this one right here. Just do a light flush on the cheek area. I like to smile a little bit to put it on my apples. So now I'm going to use a different Hourglass palette, and I'm going to go in with this bronzer right here just to deepen up my cheek area. Just slightly like that, as opposed to that. So for highlight, I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here from another Hourglass palette I have. This is a metallic strobe powder in Champagne Strobe Light. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of that on the highest points of my cheeks and on my nose, just slightly. Isn't that gorgeous? Still haven't sprayed my face, but I think I'm ready to do that now. I'm going in with the DIY setting spray with aloe vera and glycerin. And this is my first set that I do. Like so. So this is with just that initial spray, just to refresh everything. For my lips, I'm just going to go in with a Fenty Heat gloss, and this is in the shade Hot Cherry. And I'm just going to apply that to the center of my lips, just like so. And that's just going to give my lips like a little bit of a gloss, but also some definition in the center. Alright, so that's with the gloss on. And I'm not going to line my lips or anything. I think it looks more fresh face like this. And then I'm going to set my makeup. So this is the One Size Until Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray. So I'm going to spray this because this is, if I get the top off, this is the best setting spray I've ever used. Hands down. And this is the final look. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. Press the subscribe button down in the description box so you don't miss any more content from me. Share this video because you know sharing is caring. And since you're here, you might as well watch some more videos. So there they are, popping up right there and right there, right there and right there, right there and right there. Support your girl, okay? And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!